Yo, what's up, everybody? It's the Amish Apple Podcast, episode 2. It is Friday, May the 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo to those who celebrate. And the New York Mets are in a bad spot right now. Come into today at 16-16, 500 record, coming off of a loss yesterday, 2-0. Coming off of a sweep, getting swept by the Tigers. Not much can be said that is very positive at the moment, but we're going to try. We're going to get through it because it's not the end of the world, as we'll get into. Just real quick, my name is Nelson, a.k.a. Amish Country Mets fan. If you're watching for the first time or listening for the first time, please drop a like, comment, subscribe. I thank you. You can catch us on all the major podcast networks and on my YouTube channel. So let's get into it. A week in review. Let's start. Last time we filmed or recorded was Saturday, last Saturday. The Mets game had been postponed. The Sunday game was also postponed. So then we roll into Monday, a doubleheader against the Atlanta Braves. First game started off ugly. They jumped on us 3-0. We had Denny Reyes starting, which I still don't quite understand why Budo couldn't get that start, but whatever. So it starts off bad, 3-0. Bottom of the first, we'll do something. We did something as a team that we'll get into a little more because I want to talk about it a little more at length. We played like we played last year. They were working the counts on Strider. They were making him throw a lot of pitches. They were fouling off a ton of pitches. They were playing New York Mets baseball. That is New York Mets baseball. It's not hitting home runs. People love the home runs. The home runs are sexy. But that isn't New York Mets baseball. This team isn't built to play power baseball. It's not. It doesn't have yet. It has guys that could be decent power hitters, but we don't have that yet, and we don't have enough. So, anyways, we'll get more into that. But they worked Strider. They worked the count. They got into the game. They got right back in it. Problem is they kept giving up runs. Ended up being a 9-8 game. They gave up, like I said, 9 runs. They scored 8, which is nice to see. And again, another thing that's a problem with this team is the offense is inconsistent. We'll get a game like that where we score 8, and then we'll score nothing for the next few days. It's just frustrating, to say the least. So we end up losing that one. We tried to claw back in it. Escobar made a solo homer in the bottom of the ninth to get us within 1, but we didn't. Wasn't enough. So we moved to game 2. We lose that one 9-8. We move to game 2, and things much better. We don't fall behind crazy like we have been a lot lately. We stayed in the game. It was a close game. And we end up winning 5-3. There was nothing really too noteworthy about the game in general, but it was good to get the win. Then we're supposed to go to Detroit. We do go to Detroit. Tuesday's game is postponed again. Now, well, I won't get into it yet because this is what we're going to talk a little bit about excuses and the fans' frustrations with excuses and all that. And weather and having to play doubleheaders is one of those excuses. But Tuesday's game is postponed. We move into Wednesday. I think fair to say most Mets fans expected us to win at the very least 2 out of 3, if not sweep this Tigers team. This Tigers team coming into this series was not good. Their offense was not good. They ranked near the bottom of the league in every offensive category. how they just murdered our pitching staff is not. That doesn't bode well. That's a bad sign when a team that's that bad offensively can just tee off on you. So Wednesday, first game of the doubleheader. Again, it's one of those games we're in it. We're going back and forth. Pitching, though, is a problem. Lucchese's getting hit pretty hard. He got through 4 relatively. I mean, he kept us in it, but they were teeing off on his pitches. Baez hits a bomb off of, which I don't understand why we ever throw Javi Baez a strike. The guy has proven he will swing at anything. You should be fined for throwing Javier Baez a strike. If he walks, he walks. But let him prove he's going to take a walk, because I haven't seen it. The guy's a free swinger. He will swing at anything above his head, above his neck, down to his toes. It doesn't matter. He's going to swing at it. Don't throw him a damn strike. Sorry. That was one of my biggest, little pet peeves of the whole series. Why are we letting Javi Baez, of all people, beat us? That was mind-boggling. But we go into that game and we have a lead late. We're up 5-4. Bring in Adam Ottavino in the 8th. And here's another excuse. This will be a good time let's do the excuse talk. A valid excuse to me, this is my opinion. Valid excuse is guy hasn't pitched in a week, more than a week. He's rusty. That's okay. That's a valid excuse. Adam Ottavino had not pitched in, I think, over a week. He was gone on paternity leave. He hadn't gotten in a game. So he comes in and he doesn't look like Adam Ottavino. He looks not good. They scored a couple runs on him, gave up the lead. I will say that is there was a ball hit to Starling Marte. Should have been an easy out. We're going to get Marte here in a bit. And he let it drop. This is becoming a theme. This is becoming a problem. But we'll get to that. Let's stick to the excuse talk. So Russ, to me, valid excuse. Jet lag, not a valid excuse. I think a lot of fans, I see on Mets Twitter just get on, the excuses. Okay, I agree with that. But sometimes it is valid. Again, not valid jet lag. Not valid, really, the rain out doubleheader thing, because both teams have to deal with that. The cold weather, I've seen this one. The Mets don't play well in cold weather. I actually think that's true. From what I see, just eye test, not looking into it, I feel like we do play a lot worse in bad weather conditions, when it's cold, when it's rainy. I don't know what that's about. Is that a valid excuse? No. Again, both teams have to deal with the same conditions. If we're that soft that we just can't play when it's not 70 degrees and sunny out, that's a problem. Why? Why is it? Wear some freaking, I don't know, warm, something that'll make you warm under your uniform. I don't know. If your issue is that you can't play in the cold, you need to figure that out. So that, to me, not really a valid excuse. Although I do feel like this team struggles more in cold, and maybe getting into some nice weather, hopefully the nice weather will come around. Maybe they will start playing better. Maybe that does help them a little bit. But to me, that's not a good excuse. And we get to Max and Justin Verlander, and finished you, but Justin Verlander and Max came back. One of the issues with Max is he looked rusty. And people were like, "Oh, that's BS," but that's just making excuses. He had this is where that, to me, that's valid for multiple reasons. In my opinion, baseball players in general are so much creatures of habit, and then pitchers even more so, I think, that when you get them out of their routine, things go haywire. When a pitcher isn't pitching consistently on his normal days, when he hasn't pitched in a week for whatever reason, when his start gets pushed back by weather, all those things, yeah, you should be able as a major leaguer to overcome these things to an extent. But we know how much pitchers, just everything has to go a certain way. And Max definitely screams that to me. So, and again, I'm going to talk more about Max and all that, but him being rusty and not looking sharp in that first start back, to me, I have to give him more time because I think that is a valid excuse. I think Justin Verlander having pitched his first game of the year, valid. Yeah, he had a rehab start, but it's not the same. He hadn't really pitched in spring training other than that one rehab start. So again, those things to me are valid reasons why you can say, okay, they're having some issues. But anyway, back to I got off the tangent. It was on the tangent off the Ottavino things. Ottavino gave up the lead. We end up losing 6-5. Game two, we don't show up. Max just doesn't look good. Getting to Max again, he just doesn't look like himself. People say, he's just proves he was cheating. His spin rates are down, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe it. I don't believe that either. I just think he was generally rusty. I need to give him a couple more starts before I get on him. Sorry, I do. I mean, you might not be. You might be. He's washed. Whatever. That's your opinion. That's valid. Your opinion is valid. Mine. I'm just a guy here with a microphone yapping. But yeah, we get lit 8-1. Offense lifeless. Gets back. We go back to that inconsistency thing. The offense is just so up and down. Yesterday, lose again. Justin Verlander's first start back. First inning, he gets jumped on. Throws a curve to Riley Green that he smoked. And then again, Javi Baez. Listen, I have many complaints about Justin Verlander. His start, he did what he needed to do. Don't throw Javi Baez a strike. Forever. Don't throw Javi Baez a strike. If I were managing one of these teams, I legitimately would find a way to fine you for throwing Javi Baez a strike. I'm sorry. It's just, he's proven time and time again he will swing at anything. Don't do it. But whatever. He gets tagged for 2 runs in the first. And everybody, I saw it on Mets Twitter. Oh, here we go. He's washed too, blah, blah, blah. You've got to stop being so damn reactionary. Like, that's driving me a little crazy lately. Can we chill with the, overreactions over one play, over one inning, over one game? Yeah, you can argue it's been more than a game for Mets. That I'll give you as a whole, you can start to panic a little bit. That's not even, I don't think you should panic, but if you're concerned a little bit as a whole, I can't blame you there. I'm concerned too. But can we not just let's try not to go over the top with it. That's all I'm asking. Not asking you to be like, oh, everything's great, everything's grand, we're going to be fine, yay. No, you don't have to do that. Honestly, you don't have to do anything. You can fan however you want to fan. I just think and I posted a video about this on my YouTube. It just, to me, your season's going to be way less enjoyable if at every valley you're just losing your mind. And maybe that's just you and that's the way you want to be. Hey, fine, go ahead. My personal opinion, advice, whatever you want to call it, I would try to chill out a little bit just because I can't be healthy, man. For real, like legitimately, that can't be healthy for you. And I'm not a healthy guy to begin. I'm a big guy. If I just flew off the handle every time, I'd probably end up in a hospital in no time. I'm losing weight though. That's neither here nor there. Yeah, man. I just feel like we need to try to chill a little bit. But if that's not you, whatever, go ahead. I try to tune it out as much as I can. It's hard sometimes though, because you just see the constant negativity and the constant piling on, and you just don't want to hear it anymore at times. That's just my perspective. It's just sometimes you just want to, and that's on me. That's I need to take a step back and step away from it, and I try not to engage in it too much when that's the case. I try to live in the middle. That's where I try to be. I'm not perfect. At times I do get too down or I do get too high. Because that's another thing too. The opposite end of the spectrum is a bit much as well. Like, you don't always have to be praising the team, especially when they're struggling. Like, it's fair to criticize them. So that's that. I just there wasn't much infighting at times. Like Mets Twitter, especially, and maybe Mets Twitter isn't a good barometer. Maybe regular everyday Mets fans are not like that. I'm not among Mets fans. I'm in Amish country. There are no other Mets fans. So what I do interact with is the people online. And from what I can tell, it's just very volatile at times. And I love Mets Twitter. I love the community. It's just, it can be a little much, but it is what it is. I didn't come on here to do a breakdown of Mets Twitter. It's just kind of where it led, just because of the way things are going. Things are bad, and I see a lot of like doom and gloom, and I wish that wasn't the case, because I do believe this is a good baseball team. We'll get in. I do believe that. Like, they obviously need improvements, and we're going to get into that. But I do believe deep down this is not a bad baseball team. This team playing very bad baseball, but it is not a bad baseball team. But anyways, moving on. So Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer both made their returns. As we got into, Max did not look good. I personally, like I said, would give Max at least, I'd give him 3 starts. This is me. It's not you. You can do whatever you want. Me personally, I'm going to give him 3 starts. In those 3 starts, if he can show me some of that old Max, and I'm going to back off and say he's fine. If he continues to show me what we saw the other day, then I think it's time to call it. Time of death. No, not time of death, but 2023 Mad Max, cooked, washed, done. Could be. It could be the case. I'm not ready to say that yet. Like I said, give him, to me, he hadn't pitched in so long. Before that, he was dealing with that back issue, which he says he feels fine. My concern and his concern is his velocity was down. He said about a tick and a half, he says. And we saw that. We saw that on the gun. So that's concerning. That's a problem if that's going to be the case and he can't find that again, then yeah, we might have big issues. But again, it's been a while. It was a cold night. Again, that's for add on. I know the cold thing is not a valid excuse, but add that on to everything else, and I could see why things would be off a little bit. So I'm giving him a pass for now. For now. Justin Verlander, on the other hand, I thought looked pretty sharp. We talked about it. That first inning, not great. He looks like he was just getting his feet wet, trying to get a feel for things. Still, I'll keep harping on that. Shouldn't throw Javi Baez a strike, but our offense didn't show up anyway. So I guess it wouldn't have mattered. But I thought he looked good. I like his velocity seemed to be there. Maybe not quite. I feel like he touched 97, 98 a couple times last year. He didn't get quite that high, but he was at 95, 96. I like to see that. Mixing his pitches. Got away from the curve because I don't think he had the feel for it. Just fine. Something to build off of. And that's what was important to see. He gave me reason to believe that he can still be himself. And that's what I want to see. And that's highly important for this team because our thing is a problem and we need an ace. And right now, Justin looks like he's got to be that guy because Max is not looking like the guy. And Senga isn't there yet. And Senga's pitching tonight. And he's coming off a long layoff. We don't know how he's going to look. So we'll see what happens. Our next topic, we're going to get into Starling Marte. Starling Marte concerns me, ladies and gentlemen. Concerns me a lot. What did last year prove? The Mets offense last year, for the most part, clicked. Yeah, we had issues at times, but for the most part was clicking April through August. In September, I was at the game where it happened. So if you want to blame me, then blame me. The Pittsburgh Pirates threw a pitch up and in on Marte, busted up his hand. He was out for the rest of the month. Our offense sputtered once we lost Starling Marte. Badly. You could say, oh, well, that's BS. You should be able to handle the loss of one player. Not when that one player is like the catalyst at the top of your lineup. Because the two-hitter is very important, and he was just doing everything that we could ask. He was an all-star. It was all working. And this was with him having groin issues. But he got hurt. He came back in the playoffs, but he still wasn't himself. I'm sorry. So one of the things that I have firmly believed is for this team to be as good as it can be, we needed a healthy Starling Marte this year. To me, we don't have a healthy Starling Marte. I think and if he's not hurt, then we got a bigger issue because he indeed is cooked, washed, whatever you want to call it. He's done. He's not a major leaguer anymore because he doesn't look like one. I personally believe, and I want to believe it's an injury thing. Doesn't look healthy. But Jarrett Seidler, sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, on Twitter made an observation. I'm just going to read the tweet. The single most concerning metric for the Mets right now is that Starling Marte's sprint speed has absolutely tanked, which is often indicative of permanent widespread decline in the rest of the player's profile as an indicator that athleticism and reflexes are going fast. If Marte isn't hurt and that metric is just because his athleticism and reflexes are going or gone, we got a problem. So What should we do? You. If he's trying to play through something, he needs to stop. If Buck knows he's trying to play through something, he needs to put a stop to it. Put him on the IL and see if you can get him right. You have to. You can't let him continue to play through this because it is killing us. Because Buck won't make adjustments. And we'll get into the fix. Buck is not a guy that likes to make adjustments, and it drives me insane. That's my issue, one of my major issues with Buck Showalter. Starling Marte is in the lineup. Starling Marte is playing right field, and he's batting second. Why Starling Marte? Sorry, I got a little high pitched here. Why Starling Marte can't play DH and bat literally anywhere else, I do not understand, especially if he is looking hobbled, looking like he can't play the outfield anymore. At times, it really looks like that. At times, he's not getting the balls that he really should be getting to. And it's not laziness. I've heard people say that. This guy, something is wrong with this dude. I'm sorry, there is. It's not, then, like I said, then he's done and his career's over because he just looks lost. So, Buck needs to get his head out of his duty and figure something out because we need Marte. We do. We need him. We need him. In order to get this team going, we need Starling Marte. So, but if we can't have Starling Marte, let's take him out of the equation or leave him as is for right now. What's the fix? How do you fix a 500 team that look listless, that the offense is highly inconsistent, that the pitching staff just looks brutal at times, giving up way too many home runs? And speaking of the offense being inconsistent, the Mets have been shut out in 6 of the first 32 games. Last year, they were shut out 8 times all season. So, yeah, I've been on a proponent of the pitching is the problem, not the offense. But the offense has to figure some things out, too, because it's too inconsistent. You can't get shut out that many times this early. You just can't. It's just not. And getting into some other things with the offense look, these are Marte's numbers. 27, a homer, 8 RBIs, 312 OBP, 299 slugging. You can't. That's not hacking it. And overall, the outfield in general, other than Nimmo, is a problem. I mean, even Nimmo's slumping right now, but he's going to be okay. But Mark Canha, listen, I try not to harp on Canha. Enough people hate on the guy. But he's batting 229, 315 OBP, 385 slugging, 3 homers, 10 RBIs. That ain't cutting, man, from a guy that we expect to be. I mean, Buck's playing him like he's an everyday player, pretty much. Can't have that. And who do we have backing that up? Tommy Pham had a good game the other day, but no, he's not very good either. This team has no outfield depth, but maybe that they keep throwing Marte out there no matter what. But, man, you got to figure something else out, bro. Is it a panic move to bring up Mauricio, let him play second base, and stick McNeil in the outfield? Is it? I don't know. At this point, is that a fix? What's the fix? That's what we're looking for here. Is there a realistic fix? You're asking a lot of Mauricio if that's the case. I've said it before, I think they're grooming him to trade him. I hope that's not the case. Organizational philosophy, the way I know Buck and Billy think, I just feel like that's going to be the case. He doesn't do what they like. He's not a patient hitter. He's a free swinger. And they don't like free swingers very much, unless you're Tomas Nido. Don't get me started on Tomas Nido. So yeah, is that an option? Do you IL Marte like you should? Bring up Mauricio, put McNeil in the outfield. Or you don't want to bring up Mauricio, okay. Play Guillorme every day at second, put McNeil in the outfield. Not the sexiest choice, but at this point, just for defensive purposes, that might be an option. What else could we do? We're spitballing here. How do you fix this offense? How do you put some life into the offense? Let's say we're not leaving the roster as is. Why don't we switch the lineup around? Mr. Buck Showalter calling Mr. Buck Showalter. Why won't you adjust the lineup? What you were doing every day isn't working. To me, Francisco Lindor, who's also struggling. Everybody's struggling, to be honest. You look at it, everybody's struggling. Maybe McNeil right now is not. But anyways, Francisco Lindor, to me, is a perfect two-hitter for this team. Why do we not move Marte off of the two-hole where he doesn't have as much pressure? Well, if you move him, original thought was move Marte to the 5-hole, but he's not with it enough to do that. So you need to move him further down, I think. So move Lindor to the 2. So no 1, Lindor 2. I think McNeil 3 makes the most sense at the moment. Alonso 4. And this is what I know he's not going to do, so it's kind of makes this whole thing moot. Brett Baty should be your 5-hitter at this point. And if not, okay, I'm okay, because he's done Vogelback at 5. And as much as people hate on Vogelback, he hasn't been as bad. He needs to be a little less patient, and I'd like to see him hit for a little more power. But he's doing his job. He's getting on base. He's getting some hits. Yes, he clogs the bases. There's nothing we can do about that. But he's doing a far better job than a lot of other guys on this team. Like, he's the least of worries right now. Or one of the people that are the least of my worries. It's so fine. If Buck won't put Baty at 5, which he should, then against right-handers, put Vogelback at 5 and mix and match the rest however you want. He would probably do Canna at 6. Canna 6, I'm guessing, would be Baty 7. This is how I'm thinking Buck would. Baty 7. I would do Alvarez 8 and Marte. Yeah, Marte 9. I would move Marte to the 9 spot. Take the pressure off him. See if maybe that that's something that could get him going. And it's shout out to, I believe Hector in Washington. This was the first one to bring up Marte to the 9-hole. I don't think Buck will ever do it, which is why I'm like, I was kind of like whatever about it. But when I really think about it and I see how Marte is playing, I feel like that makes the most sense. So that's an option. Move the lineup, switch the lineup. It doesn't have to be that specifically. That's just one of my ideas. But I would definitely move Baty up in the lineup. I would move Alvarez, and this is an easy fix. Stop treating the catching spot like it's a shared job. Alvarez is a healthy young man who can play almost every day. Play him. Tomas Nido provides no value to this baseball team. I'm sorry, he does not. He can't hit, and lately he can't catch. If you were telling me he was a fantastic framer, he's throwing runners out, he's blocking every ball, he's just doing all the little things right behind the plate, then I could give you that argument. Okay, it's a shared role. But he is not. And in fact, Francisco Alvarez's frame rate is like 95, 96 percentile, something like that. This kid knows what he's doing. This kid could get in a groove and maybe provide that power that we're lacking if you let him play more. He's a guy that needs consistent at-bats. Stop force-feeding Tomas Nido down our throats. None of us want to see it. Not a one of us cares to see. I don't know that for Tomas Nido's family cares to see him behind the plate anymore. I'm sorry. I like the dude. He's just not a good baseball player. He's not. I'm sorry, Tomas. I like you. You're decent enough. It's time for you to go. You served your purpose. Now it is time for you to go somewhere else. Anywhere else. Just not on my baseball team. Not mine. You know what I mean. So that's another, to me, an easy fix. Play Alvarez more. Here's another issue. I touched on it earlier. Tim Ryder tweeted this. And I agree 100% with him, so I'll read it. Everything that made the Mets offense good last year feels like it's been abandoned. Working counts, putting the ball in play. They were never a home run power team, but they made it work. This is not working. Follows that up with a stat. The Mets haven't worked a 20-pitch first inning since April 18th at the Dodgers. They've averaged 12.5 pitches in the first over the last 13 games. Working counts was a big part of the offensive blueprint in 2022. So why are we not doing it again? We pretty much have the same dudes. Why aren't we working the counts? Why are we up there hacking at the first pitch more often than not? Can someone explain this to me? You mean to tell me moving Eric Chavez from hitting coach to bench coach changed everything about the philosophy? The guy that took his spot was here with us last year. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute. What is the issue? I leave a comment. Tell me if you know what the issue is. If you understand it, leave me a comment, please. Because I'd love to know. I'd love to know your thoughts. Because to me, something is highly wrong right now. I don't understand why this team isn't built, like I said, isn't built for the home runs. Why are we trying to hit the home run every time? I don't get it. Somebody explain it to me. Because it doesn't work. It's not working. That said, like I said earlier, I don't think this is a bad baseball team. I think they can right ship. They have too many guys that are too good to not figure it out. That's my opinion. I hope they do. We're moving forward. So moving forward, we got our next 10 games. We got 3 at home starting tonight against Colorado, who are still in 20. 3 at Cincinnati, they're 13-18. and 4 at Washington, also 13 and 18. One of the Mets' biggest issues has been that they play down to the competition. We need to stop that. This is the time to try to figure things out and right the ship. Now you have to do it against the bad teams. You have to pad up here. You have to find a way. These next 10, I need 7-3 or 8-2. We need to get going. And I'm not saying if that doesn't happen, you go 5-5, is the season over then? No, it is not. It's not. But we can only keep saying early for so long. It is. And we've seen teams struggle in the first half. I mean, one of my for us personally, the best example is 2015. The 2015 Mets offense, especially in the first half of the season, was garbage, basura, trash. We were playing John Mayberry and freaking Eric Campbell were like cleaning up and hitting fifth for us. So, and we saw what that team did. We got Yoenis Cespedes, we made a couple other moves, and we went on a run. Baseball is about getting hot at the right time, making a run at the right time, and we did it that year. And we can't do it this year too. Now I know the argument. Oh, I don't trust Billy Epler to make the right moves. We'll see. I'm not. Obviously, he doesn't inspire that much confidence, but I can't. We got to see what happens. Too early for all that talk, but got to see who's available, what we do give up, what's rumored that people want from us, and who's out there to get in the first place and all that jazz. So, it's not. It is. Yes, I mean, yes, it is too early to pack up and say this is done. We can't fix this. And it would still be too. I mean, look at the Phillies last year. Jeez, it took them till what? Late July, August to finally get going. I think it was August, actually. August, September. The Nationals, the year they won the World Series, they were dreadful the first half of the year. So it can be done. We obviously don't want to wait that long. We don't want to give it that much time. We don't want to watch it go however many games under 500. We need to stay afloat at the very least. So that's what I need to see. I need to see them stay afloat. If hovering at 500 is what needs to be done for now, then so be it. It's going to be frustrating, but I can't live with us like going on like a huge losing streak and being like 10 games under 500. That's a problem. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we do get going. You know what? You gotta believe. There a shirt. You gotta believe. It's our slogan for a reason. And I believe in it. And I believe this team will be okay. So, like I said, 10 games. Listen, I do that said, I need 10 games against these bad teams. 7-3, 8-2. I mean, that has to be the goal. Like if we go 5, that's gonna suck. People are gonna be mad. That doesn't mean we're cooked, we're done, but it's not. This is a time to get things right, and you got to. I mean, you got to do it against these bad teams. Come on now. Tonight we got Kodai Senga against Antonio Senzatella. I don't know if I said that right. That's a 7-10 start. Tomorrow it is Tyler McGill against looks like Gomber. Austin Gomber, left-handed pitcher. You all know how we fare against lefties, so let's see. But he's 2-4 with a 7.57 ERA. And then Sunday is Ryan Feltner for the Rockies against right now TBD for us. I heard Buck say he might go to Lucchese in that start. So here's the deal. Let's wrap this up. JV and Max are back. We need them to get going. JV and Max are back. The kids are finally starting to play. Actually, no, I'm going to get to that. JV and Max are back. The kids are finally starting to play. The rotation, we are going to be able to line it up the way we want it now. It's been in shambles. Now we can kind of get it going, line up the guys we want, and hopefully get them going consistently. And hopefully that consistency helps the team. Because like I said, I feel like these guys are creatures of habit. Getting them in a consistent role, I think, is going to help everybody. So, this is something we're going to start doing every week at the end of the show. And I got this idea. I watched shout out at the Shane Sons podcast. At the end of their show, they do an amazing and a bozo of the week. So, full disclosure, this is a riff on that. I'm not calling it that, obviously. And I have my own parameters for what my guys are. What we're calling it on this show is the Wonder Bar of the week, which, if you don't know what Wonder Bar means, it is an Amish word for wonderful. So the wonderful Met of the week. And then the Rotten Apple of the week. It's called the Amish Apple Podcast. We're going to do a Rotten Apple of the week. Here's the problem with this week. Everybody feels like a rotten apple, and nobody feels like they were wonderful. So, you know what? This is what we're going to do. It doesn't have to necessarily be a player. You know who my rotten apple of the week is? Our hitting coach. What's your name? I don't even know it. Jeremy Barnes, maybe? Our hitting coach is our rotten apple. You can argue hitting coaches don't make much of a difference. I don't know. I feel like the name implies that you should be helping our guys hit. And right now, none of our guys are really hitting. And as I spoke on, the approach is not what it should be. So, bro, you need to help these dudes make adjustments. And if they're not listening to you, then that's a problem. So you are my rotten apple of the week, the hitting coach. My Wonder Bar of the week. Let's pull one out of our ass here. We got Drew Smith. Honestly, I don't know where else to go. Drew Smith, 9 innings. In his last 9 appearances, 9 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, 5 walks, 12 days. There you go. He's been the one guy that's been a solid in the bullpen. And watch him turn around after this and and get lit up. Just, I don't know. So, that's where we're at. That's episode 2. Thank you so much for listening, so much for watching. Please, like I said earlier, drop a like, give me a comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please, at Amish Country Mets Fan. I'm trying to grow this. I'm trying to grow the pod, trying to grow everything. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all the major podcast networks. You can find me there if you don't want to watch and just listen. That's the way to go. Follow me on Twitter at Amish Country Met. All right. Done plugging myself. Sorry, but have to do it. You gotta do it. So again, thank you. We'll be back. I think I'm going to drop these every Friday is going to be the goal, I believe, at least for now. And let me know if you don't think that's a good day. I want to hear from you. Maybe you have a better time, better day. I just know I don't want to do it Mondays. Shane Sons does Mondays. I don't want to drop the same day they do. Those are my boys. It's kind of like respect thing. So definitely don't want to do that. But if you got a day other than Monday, maybe that's better. Let me know. I'll try to switch my recording times. But for now, we're going to try to do Fridays. That's that, man. Let's go Mets. Let's go Knicks. Knicks got a big game tomorrow in Miami. So let's go Mets. Let's go Knicks. Let's get things going. Peace. Love ya. See ya.